Your users open the Fiori launchpad and wait 5 seconds, 10 seconds. By then, most of them have already decided your platform is broken. Studies show that every additional second of load time increases user abandonment by roughly 7%. For a Fiori landscape serving thousands of employees, slow launchpad performance does not just frustrate people, it undermines your ROI. Today, we will walk through the exact levers you can pull to get launchpad load times under 3 seconds. We will cover content delivery network setup, UI5 resource caching, plugin discipline, and OData prefetch tuning. Let us get started. The Fiori launchpad is the entry point for every Fiori application in your landscape. It loads the SAP UI5 framework, resolves user personalization, fetches tile data through OData calls, and initializes every registered plugin, all before the user sees a single tile. When any one of these stages is slow, the entire experience suffers. Think of it like an airport terminal. If security, check-in, and boarding all add delays, the total wait time compounds. Basis admins often focus on back-end transaction performance, but overlook the front-end orchestration that happens inside the launchpad. The good news is that most performance problems come from a handful of common configuration errors that are straightforward to fix. The first optimization is how your system serves SAP UI5 resources. By default, every user downloads the UI5 library from your ABAP front-end server. That creates a bottleneck, especially across wide area networks. Instead, configure a CDN. SAP provides one at ui5.sap.com, so the framework loads from edge servers closer to your users. Second, enable the UI5 resource preload. Set the data-sap-ui-resource-roots parameter in your launchpad configuration to bundle UI5 modules into a single request instead of dozens of individual files. Third, configure proper cache control headers on your Internet Communication Manager, or ICM. Set the ICM/HTTP/max_age parameter to at least 30 days for static resources. These 3 changes alone can cut initial load time by 40 to 60%. Exact percentage improvement varies by network topology and should be validated per landscape. Fiori launchpad plugins run during startup. I have seen landscapes where 20 or more plugins execute on every launchpad load. Notification plugins, custom theme loaders, analytics trackers, each making its own back-end call. The rule is simple. Audit your plugins using transactions/UI2/FLP. For the plugins you keep, make sure they load asynchronously. SAP introduced the async plugin loading flag in S/4HANA 2020. Enable it. A plugin that loads synchronously blocks the entire startup chain. An async plugin loads in the background while the rest of the launchpad renders. The difference can be 2 to 4 seconds per synchronous plugin removed. Next, address component loading. By default, the launchpad may eagerly load component data for tiles that are not even visible on the user's screen. Enable lazy loading by setting the launchpad parameter load-tiles-on-demand to true. This means tiles below the fold do not trigger OData calls until the user scrolls to them. Additionally, configure async component loading in your app descriptors. In each app's manifest.json, set the routing configuration async property to true. This tells the framework to load application components in parallel rather than sequentially. For landscapes with 50 or more tiles per user, lazy loading alone reduces initial OData calls from dozens down to the dozen visible on screen. OData calls for tile data are often the contributor to perceived load time. There are 2 strategies here. First, configure OData batch requests so multiple tile data calls are combined into a single HTTP round trip. Check that your OData services have a batch enabled in transaction segment IWFND/maint_service. Second, use the launchpad's pre-fetch mechanism to preload commonly accessed tile data during idle time after the initial render. Set the pre-fetch configuration in the Fiori Launchpad Designer under Tile OData Requests. Third, review your OData service implementations for N+1 query patterns, a single tile calling back to the server multiple times when one batch call would suffice. SAP Focused Run, or FRU, provides the health monitoring dashboard that tracks OData response times per service so you can identify the bottlenecks. You cannot optimize what you do not measure. SAP Focused Run provides 3 critical dashboards for Fiori performance. First, the RUM or RUM dashboard captures actual browser load times from end users, broken down by network, browser, and geographic location. Second, the Integration Monitoring dashboard tracks OData service response times and error rates from the gateway. Third, the Site feature lets you schedule automated Launchpad load tests from different locations. Set up key performance indicator thresholds: Launchpad initial load under 3 seconds, tile data load under 1 second, and OData error rate under 1%. When any threshold is breached, FRUN triggers an alert. This gives you proactive instead of waiting for user complaints.